Howdy, Immortalium here, and I just wanted to discuss something that I saw this morning. I pop onto YouTube and I look at my subscriptions as I usually do, and I see a For Never World video, and it says Studio Ghibli shutting down, and at that point I got a fright and a half. I mean, I was really surprised and shocked. But then I did some research. I found out that apparently the original article was incorrect, but a lot of people are still kind of unaware of this, so I just decided to make a video and also to explain some things that I've also noticed. So, first off, Studio Ghibli is not shutting down. Now, what it is doing is a restructuring. Apparently, okay, let's just analyze this a bit at a time. So, let's start off with their last few movies and their box office performance. So, The Wind Rises did well. Not exceptionally well, but it did well. It had a budget of, I think they said it was 30 million, maybe. And not 100% on that. It grossed over 100 million in Japan. It did well enough in France and America. So, Wind Rises was a good success. That and it sold well on DVD and Blu-ray when it was released in Japan. So, Wind Rises is a success. But let's take a look at their next two films. So, originally The Wind Rises was meant to be paired up with a film called The Tailor Princess Kaguya, which is an adaptation of a Japanese tale. I think it's The Tale of the Bamboo Cutter, it's called. And it was directed by Isao Takahata. It had a beautiful looking art style. In fact, a lot of people have argued that The Tale of Princess Kaguya is better than The Wind Rises. I myself have not seen either of them, so I cannot comment on that. But The Tale of Princess Kaguya failed in the Japanese box office. It grossed about 20 million, I think. Now, it is getting released in other countries. It was picked up by G-Kids in America, the ones who distributed From Up in Poppy Hill, along with lots of other films like, Chico and Rita and The Secret of Kells and all that jazz. So, we'll just have to see how that goes, but overall it was a big disappointment, and I'm sure it lost money for Studio Ghibli, something that probably hasn't happened since their beginning. At the beginning, Studio Ghibli films weren't that successful. And now they've released a new film, When Marnie Was There, I think it's called, which is an adaptation of a British novel from the director of Arrietty, so he must have a thing for Britain. It's opened up in third in the Japanese box office. And that is not good enough for Studio Ghibli. And I'm not saying that condescendingly. It genuinely isn't good enough for them. They deal with budgets that, are exceptionally higher than other, anime features. So, opening a third is a disappointment. And now, that article, they simply said they need to restructure, they need to reorganize. Some translator read it. He kind of associated the rumors a few months back that Studio Ghibli was shutting down and said, okay, this is him confirming it. But no, it's just a restructuring. Now, when I hear the term restructuring, I hear layoffs. That's what I hear. I don't know if that's what Studio Ghibli means, but, that is a good possibility. And what I'm thinking is it is very possible that what they will end up doing is trying to reduce the overall cost of making anime films. It is very possible to make anime films at a much cheaper cost than they are currently doing. But the trade-off will be that, their animators won't be as well paid. The look of the film will be much more standard. It won't have that, flow that a lot of Studio Ghibli films do, because, they genuinely have a lot of money to put into it and make it something really beautiful looking. So I think that will be a loss. So I don't know what that restructuring could be. All it could mean is just making things a bit more efficient. But that's just how I hear it. So I guess we'll just have to take a look at how that will go. Now, for blame, I don't really think that this situation is the fault of anyone. And I just want to explain that. I did a video, it was the last video I did on this channel, where I was, complaining at Piracy people for not contributing to the industry. And I'm sure many of you are looking at this and you're kind of going, it's the fault of those pirates. But to be honest, this isn't really. I mean, sure, it is technically their fault that they do pirate Studio Ghibli films, but as I said before, Studio Ghibli is dealing with a far bigger budget than many other anime features. So, while it is the fault of you pirates, if you don't actually contribute to these films, their fault is much less in this matter than it is in other areas of, you know, anime. The big problem, I think, is that it just hasn't been doing well in Japan, as I said before. Now, Frozen did exceptionally well in Japan. If you haven't been aware, Frozen has sold, I think, 2 million copies of its Blu-ray since it got released. 2 million, which has beaten out pretty much every other... Yeah, it is a fact. It's beaten out every other anime film in terms of sales. So it also grossed 200 million in the box office. So I wonder, is that a contributing factor? Like, Frozen is very much a family kind of affair. You know, you can bring the whole family, you sit down, watch it. Whereas, like, say, when Marnie was there, apparently it has a much more mature feel to it. It's something more like teenagers and onwards. So I wonder, is that a contributing factor? So I don't know what's going to happen. I just simply wanted to make this video, one, to tell you guys, no, Studio Ghibli isn't shutting down. It is going to restructure, and I don't know what that means. I can think of all possible things that could be happening, but I just thought I would tell you that they are not shutting down. That is the key word. And also I just wanted to discuss, you know, their performance. You know, the fact that while The Wind Rises was successful, their last two films have not been. Now, we haven't seen the entire run of when Marnie was there, but, you know, the opening was quite disappointing. That is something I want to point out. And in comparison to Frozen now, which was a gigantic success in Japan, they do look a bit like small fry, you know? So that's just something I wanted to talk about. So, yeah, I would love to hear your comments below, and, you know, what do you think about this? Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.